What is it? Jacques?
Jacques? Jacques. It's simply whatever.
What up, what up?
What up, what up, what up, what up? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Simply Whatever podcast. My name is Sam. I'm your lovely host, per always, per the future, per whatever. Hopefully, as I like to say, for all of this podcast's eternity. Today, it's a classic. Today, I am joined by one of my most favorite people in the whole world. I'm getting rid of that paper. She's beautiful. She's amazing. She's my freaking family.
Easy, breezy, beautiful.
Jaclyn Bracey. So yes, we are joined today by my amazing cousin. Her name's Jaclyn Bracey. Same last name.
Hello.
Some might say same faces. Thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Of course.
Of course. Now, can you tell me a little bit?
It.
Oh, it's great. Can you tell me a little bit about our scene? I keep spinning in this chair. This is going to be a thing the entire episode. I can already tell.
Yeah, I'm feeling I'm gonna be this way a lot. So I'm sorry.
Pay no mind. Just gonna at one point just be completely backwards.
This is my house. Bar in my house. We're in a bar, but we're in the back room of my house.
We're at the bar in the house.
Yeah.
We're in the house and we're in the house bar.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I
Amazing.
explain to people and understand.
Yeah.
I have a bar in my house. Why? I don't know, because my dad likes it.
It looks like a pub and it's a good vibe, so I figured it would be a good background. So we hit our who, we hit our where, and now we gotta hit our what. So before we dive into that, tell me a little bit about you. I know everything about you. Tell the audience about yourself.
I'm a
Besides
hairstylist. I'm 20 great. What else? What about me? What do you want to know?
Well, tell me.
Just bought a new car.
That's exciting. Love that.
Her name's Betty because she's white. Betty White. My mom named her.
I'm turning around now. So, the reason why I invited Jaclyn to be on today's podcast is specifically because not only were you the first person I ever went to a concert with at my first ever concert, was it also your first ever one?
What concert?
Never Shout Never and the Ready Set
No.
at Six Flags Great Adventure.
It was not my first concert.
Okay.
I believe my first concert was the Jonas Brothers in New York City for free because they were on Good Morning America.
That's awesome.
But
I can't believe you saw the Jonas Brothers in Good Morning America.
Yeah, we went to the city at like 5 a.m.
That's awesome.
because we had to go see Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
It was August 8th, 2008, and I remember that because it was 888.
Oh, so essentially what I'm trying to get at is the fact that you're a showgirl.
Yes.
Raves, festivals, underground.
It all started in the firehouses.
Like firehouse shows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Firehouse shows.
I went to one
Metal
firehouse
shows
show.
in high school.
Oh, true. There was this. Do you remember Contract for a Traitor?
I think so.
They were like local punk scene. Also, they did a couple firehouses. They were back in the day though. All right, we're talking underground. When the whole idea of this episode is something that wasn't underground.
No.
Not at all.
Mainstream.
As mainstream as it could possibly get. So today's person we were discussing is Travis fucking Scott. Done.
Canceled.
Literally canceled. So, for those of you who don't know, and we'll give a quick overview before we kind of examine the whole situation, a lot of fucking people died at one of his shows.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the hot goss at the moment.
And are currently still dying.
Yes. There's still more people who are in hospitals injured on life support.
Yeah.
Utter insanity. So I kind of figured that's what today's topic would be, and we'll kind of dive into that with you as your experience as a show person, and, you know, me also going to shows as well, but also it's my podcast and I want to fucking talk about it, so.
And that's what you're allowed to do.
So don't judge us because we have a couple stacks of paper here.
There are a lot of notes here.
Lots of notes because there's a lot of information involving this, I'm going to call it a case, because it essentially is at this point.
We want to try to get it as accurate as possible.
Exactly. So, without further ado, let's talk about fucking Astroworld. So, our sources for all this information...
Sorry.
It's okay. So, our sources for all this information that we have regarding the events that took place at Astroworld. We have CNN.com. We have good old classic Wikipedia. You need to. You're in a pinch.
By the way, I don't know if you know this. Everyone should donate to Wikipedia.
Absolutely.
Because we have all been using Wikipedia our whole lives for all the information for free.
Yeah. It's a free service.
You can donate as little or as much as you want.
But you should nonetheless.
But you should.
So we have CNN, Wikipedia, ABC Today, Associated Press, Fox Business. I put Associated Press twice on here. I just noticed that.
Fine.
But then the good old classic, Twitter and TikTok.
TikTok.
It's a news site at this point. Like,
They've got it all.
Depending on what your FYP looks like, you know.
Yeah.
So give us a little background, you know.
All right. So, what is it? Jacques?
Jacques. Travis Scott.
A.K.A. Jacques Berman-Webster II. I feel like that's not right, but...
That's his real name.
Jacques?
Probably not.
Jacques.
Jacques? Either way, his biological name is not Travis Scott.
No, it's not. So he's been lying since the get-go.
Okay, tell us about Travis Scott.
He was born in Houston, Texas.
Yes.
He's with Kylie.
He is with Kylie. I thought they were married.
Not married, baby daddy.
Okay.
To a baby and a half.
Oh, yeah, she's pregnant again.
She's currently pregnant right now.
So baby daddy to 1.5 babies.
He's rapper, songwriter, and, as you mentioned on here, a douchebag.
He's a fucking douchebag. And we're gonna get into why. Tell us more.
So Astroworld, third studio album, released 2018.
Yeah.
Featured his number one single from Billboard Top 100, Sicko Mode. We all know it.
We all know Sicko Mode.
But Astroworld is also a music festival hosted by Travis Scott, featuring top rappers, hip-hop artists of the year.
It's a big thing.
All the big heads are there.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone wants to go.
I feel like it's sold out the last couple years that he's been doing it. Like, it's a normal thing. It's a really big festival. At this point, at least for American culture, because I feel like Lollapalooza is international. Is it?
Maybe.
I feel like it might be, but I feel like Astroworld is up there with those kind of festivals at this point.
Yeah.
Very quickly rose to fame.
Yes.
You know? So before we kind of like, you know, started talking about the actual incident itself, I did read something when I was doing a little research of a statement by one of the family members of the deceased. And it really spoke to me, so that's why I kind of want to, like, mention it and put it out there. This was not a tragedy because tragedies imply that the situation was unavoidable. So much could have been done to prevent all of this. Atrocity is the better descriptor.
Facts.
And that fucking spoke to me. I really like that. So I was like, I just want to intro with that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Could have been avoided.
It could have been avoided, and this is one of those situations where now we're looking at the past. What has he been like as a performer? And it's kind of been the talk on the town that Travis Scott has, like, a history of neglect and violence.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long time coming.
Lack of care for human life.
Exactly.
As a whole.
So we got a couple things on here of situations. You want to tell us about that?
Well, alright. So we'll start at the top.
Sure.
Around 2013, his old manager, Shane Morris, was with him in a studio basement when he began having a seizure. Travis left in anger, leaving him alone, and he was quoted saying, quote, "He explained to me that he didn't want a manager that would be having seizures. He didn't want to bring T.I. around anything like that. How do I know you're not just going to be shaking on the ground and shit?
That's so fucked.
End quote.
That's so fucked. So just to, like, put my own shit out there, too, I just lost someone who I was very close with growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He had epilepsy his whole life. It's a really fucked illness. But either way, like, hearing that somebody could have the capability of seeing somebody in a medical emergency and just be like, fuck you, bro. I don't know.
I could never.
Never.
Even a stranger on the street.
That's empathy. That's literal
He's
empathy.
a real sociopath.
And there's some more history in here as to what could lead us to this theory that he's a sociopath.
So, August 1st, 2015, arrested on charges of inciting a crowd to jump barriers at Lollapalooza in Chicago, pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct, and was fined.
Jesus.
Charged.
So, that was 2015. So we have an incident in 2013. 2 years later, we get another big guy in 2015.
And we have a quote from the 2015. Due to security's quick response, the situation was remedied immediately and no fans were injured.
Thank God.
The performer fled the scene and was taken into custody a short while later. So ran again.
So the same way that he did tonight. But we'll talk about that. There was a really big situation that happened that I had to include in this because while in my opinion, I think it's getting a lot of steam, I've come to notice that people that I talk to about it they don't know about the situation. So tell us about Kyle Green.
This one I thought was really interesting, actually.
This is a big one.
Because I never heard of this one before this all came up.
Neither did I.
But April 30th, 2017, he was having a show, Travis was having a show at Terminal 5 in New York City. I've been there. And Kyle Green, who was 23 at the time, went to the show.
Okay.
He claimed that Travis Scott encouraged the quote-unquote absolutely packed audience to get closer to the stage and jump from the balcony, which what I read was a third-story balcony.
A third?
That's what I heard.
That's ridiculous.
But that's what I heard.
That's ridiculous.
And they were pushing and pushing, and he got forced over the edge.
Oh my God.
And I saw a video of this. Travis was telling him, just do it, they'll catch you, just do it, you won't get hurt, they'll catch you.
So he was literally encouraging him to take the jump.
Yeah.
And like, they were
multiple
pushing
people. He ended up falling, and he hit the floor, fractured his vertebrae, broke left wrist, fractured his right ankle, and then was immediately picked up by security, which you're supposed to be left laid.
Yeah. Flat. That's like...
in case of neck or back injury.
Yeah.
That's like...
That's first aid 101.
Yeah.
I like to think. That is day one of classes.
Everyone knows this.
Yeah.
And he... Oh, no backboard, no neck brace.
Jesus.
Super fucking not okay.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not okay.
At least a neck brace.
And he's now... needs to use a wheelchair, and he's partially paralyzed.
Fucking Christ. That poor kid.
23 years old.
Oh my God.
My God.
And this was 2017, so he's...
2017. He was 30 then. Well, no,
Travis
he was 23
Scott was
then.
30
Travis
then.
Scott was 30 then.
2017 was 4 years ago. So he's 27. He's your age now.
So you're younger than me, and he's
Oh my God, that's right.
paralyzed.
You're 28 now.
20 great.
20 great. I'm so sorry. We already talked about this. I'm so sorry. Nice. Yeah. So what happened next? So we have April 30th, 2017 was Kyle Green. Looks like something else happened. Like
much later in May of 2017. So what, the next month?
Literally.
He was arrested in Arkansas after prompting fans at the Walmart Music Pavilion to breach barricades and overrun the security.
Jesus Christ. So, literally what happened? Just 4 years ago.
He was like, yo, just run right over each other and the security, it's fine. Like, he is known for inciting riots and madness at his shows.
That's literally what's happening here. Like...
That's his whole thing.
Jesus.
It's like rage. As hard as you can, rage.
Right. And I've been to a lot of shows where that is the theme, but there is a general understanding of the fact that you don't live in a dystopian environment. You know what I mean? Common sense. You can rage, but if your bro falls,
help him up. Someone falls, pick him up.
Let's make t-shirts. Merch. Someone falls, pick him up.
For that, he was charged and pled guilty to misdemeanor disorderly conduct and was fined.
So that's 2 charges now we've got.
2 within 2 years?
It's pretty fucking intense. 2 charges, and you paralyzed someone.
At least one person.
At least one person.
Who else jumped that night?
Alright, looks like there's one more situation here.
And only 2 years later, 2019, November 9th. So, yeah, a similar incident to the crowd surge that happened this year. Happened at Astroworld 2019. And this prompted an extra 100 security members to be hired for this year.
So essentially what we're seeing here overall, there's a history of
trend.
violence. It's a trend. There's a pattern that has formed here.
Yes.
And I guess the thing that it makes me think of, Tyler, the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
He's banned from how many countries?
Mm-hmm.
He did the same fucking thing. Why is Travis Scott any different?
Yeah.
It doesn't
But it's
connect
also
to
like, he did this time after time after time. And no one really heard about these other ones.
Yeah.
I never heard of any of this shit
No, not at all.
until this Astroworld happened.
Exactly. I never heard of there being a problem
So
at
why was
his
he
shows.
just out cool, like, the biggest name for... He had a meal at McDonald's.
I forgot about that. Oh my god. Wait, was he the first one? Or was BTS the first one? Who got the first
He was
sponsor?
first.
He was first.
The
At the
Travis
sponsored
Scott
meal, right?
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess here's what happened. I'm going to hit you guys with a timeline. So this is kind of like the nitty-gritty details of the whole thing. I am reading off this paper, but there's going to be no judgment that happens in this podcast. It's just not allowed because there's so much information involved in what happened, and it's still an open investigation. They're saying it's going to take weeks to months to get a final understanding of everything that happened. This is a breakdown of information that I got from all those sources, as well as people who were there.
Yes.
And this is the timeline that I got. So, October 26th, this is all this year. October 26th, the lineup was announced. It had him, obviously, Young Thug, SZA, Lil Baby, Earth, Wind and Fire, Master P, and 21 Savage, who I didn't know was back allowed in the country. I thought, wasn't he the one that got deported? Or was that somebody else?
I think it was him, but I think they let him back
Maybe it's like a working visa?
pretty close after he got deported.
Really? Okay.
I'm not dumb.
I don't really know how it works, but either way, it sounds like a dope lineup. So
It does kind of.
sounds pretty good. So the show was scheduled for November 5th and November 6th in Houston, Texas, and this bitch was sold the fuck out. Like, real quick. 530 security members were hired for the event.
Okay.
530. Now, 50,000 people were there. So it's a good size, for a festival. But doing the math, that's about nine people per one security. So one security member controlling 9 people. I have a couple friends who work in, like, set design at, like, bigger venues, like, how MetLife Stadium does, like, concerts and shit.
Concerts,
so they
yeah.
do that. She's the one who builds up the set and then takes it back down, and since she's an employee, she gets to stay for the show, and, like, she'll do the lights and things like that.
That's cool.
And she mentioned that there was a ratio that was understood amongst all, I guess, production companies, I guess would be, so to speak. And I can't remember what the exact number was that she said, but one person and 9 people sounds like a lot. How is one person supposed to control 9 people?
9 drunk or high or what? You're at a concert.
Yeah, it could literally be anything.
It could be on anything.
Yeah.
9 of them coming at you at the same time.
Mind you, these security personnel were split up between on foot and horseback.
Oh.
So, fun fact.
They were on horses?
They were on horses.
There were horses there?
There were horses at the Astroworld.
What happened to the horses?
We'll never know.
The world may never
The world
know.
may never know. So, people were saying that the energy was high to begin with. And this is a trend that apparently happens at all his shows. The energy is just very high. It's that rage mentality, like you were mentioning.
He creates, like, a build-up.
Exactly. So, essentially, from the very beginning, this shit was out of control. And it goes literally from the beginning of doors open. The earliest arrivals rushed through the entrances with such force that the metal detectors were toppled as security guards and the police on horseback were struggling to keep up with the amount of people charging the gate. So as per normal festivals, a lot of people come for the entire lineup, but a lot of them come for just the main stage act. You know, we're looking at just the headliner. And a lot of them will just show up at the main stage, they'll get set up in their cute little tents or whatever, secure their spot, you know, at the barricade, like, you know,
chill
like you do.
Day.
And chill for the day, and that's your spot, you're chilling, and then you just watch the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
That is essentially what was happening. However, by noon, the merch tent was shut down because of how out of control the crowd was.
Oh my God.
By 5 p.m., as many as 5,000 people without festival wristbands were believed to have breached the barricades. They jumped fences and used bolt cutters to make their way into the concert grounds.
Wow.
8:30 hits, and that's when the big red numbers on the main stage hit, the countdown, for 30 minutes. It's a long-ass countdown.
Yes, it is.
So then we have 5 minutes left on the clock, and apparently this shit is packed. The pushing had already started because people were like, oh my God, I want to see and I can't see. So they're just trying to, you know. So this crowd is already moving, and he's not even on stage yet. And then the last 10 seconds hit, the crowd starts chanting like it's fucking New Year's Eve, but that happens at shows. People count down with the timer. That's a thing.
You're excited to be there.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's Travis Scott. You're at Astroworld. You're living your best life.
Mm-hmm.
People attended said they almost immediately knew shit was wrong a good 30 seconds into the first song.
Yeah.
30 seconds for chaos to break loose. The pushing got worse, and then the screams for help started. Some people called it a domino effect. People started falling, and it became a mass pileup. Those still standing had their hands in the air for a good time, and then realized it was so tight that they couldn't put them back down. Some were stepping on lifeless bodies, and didn't even realize until they were already on top of them.
Oh my God.
About 22 minutes later, and this is where the big, like, viral video came in, is when Travis Scott sees the ambulance in the crowd. And he goes, whoa, what's that? This is 22 minutes into his set.
Yeah.
At this point, and you can see it in the video, he yells for everybody to put their hands in the air and says, you all know what you came here to do. I want to see the ground shake, and drops the beat of the next song. There's another video of a girl climbing onto a cameraman's platform, screaming to stop the show because somebody's dying. The show went on. This is also when you're seeing people jump onto the ambulance, and they're dancing on the ambulance as they're trying to save people.
Yeah.
Another 40 fucking minutes, and Travis can now be seen on this tall platform thing in the middle of the crowd. There's this other video of him on top of that platform.
Yeah.
He briefly stops the show because EMS is doing CPR on somebody in the crowd. And that's the video where he's sitting there and he's watching them and he starts like singing, but he's humming. You know that like auto-tune thing that he does? So that's what he was doing while staring at this lifeless body.
I saw that video.
Horrifying.
Disgusting.
So
You're literally staring at people dying at your show that are there for you. And just like humming along.
it's stuff of nightmares. It's legitimately a nightmare.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the show still wasn't over. He was still performing while watching someone get resuscitated. 52 minutes into now his whole set is when Drake came on stage. And there was a couple of tweets where I saw people call it like the Drake effect. And they compare it to like seeing a god. You're just drawn to them, which is kind of horrifying when you think of it that way because they're just people.
Yeah, it's weird.
That, like, it's weird. But I saw a couple different tweets saying it was like as if they saw like an angel and they were just like naturally drawn to it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So therefore, they're being drawn to it. The pushing is going to continue. Travis's last words to the crowd were, "Make it home safe," and he ran off stage. And then he went to Dave & Buster's for the after party.
Make it home safe?
People died.
You just killed them, basically.
Yeah. And left them for dead. And fucked off to go play arcade games.
Like you did your manager and left him for dead.
Left him for dead. There's a trend. So we'll get into, so that was the timeline of the entire event, right? So now we have injuries and casualties. People faint at shows. It happens.
I fainted at a show.
I remember that. I remember you were telling me about that.
Yeah. And when I fainted at the show, I was probably in the third row. I was seeing, Ghost was opening for another band I was there to see. And if you know who Ghost is, it's like this metal band, but they use a lot of bass.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's like very, very bassy, like that, like shake your
in your
inside.
chest.
Yeah. And I may have drank a little much.
Okay.
Before the show. And, yeah. And I passed out. And luckily I fell on some guy's feet right behind me. Like, his feet were like this. I landed right in
That's
his
insane.
feet. It was crazy.
That's insane. I don't know how that happened.
Because I would have cracked my head open on the concrete. It was just
Absolutely.
straight concrete.
Yeah.
But the whole area around me opened up. Security came up. They brought me brownies and
Aww.
water from backstage.
Aww.
Like they were on it.
So this shit was different. Long story short. It wasn't just people fainting. Right before Travis Scott got onto that platform thing in the middle of the crowd, the police had already put out a statement saying that there's like 4 people out here without a pulse. And the police told Live Nation to stop the show. Live Nation is the production company, essentially. They're the promoters. They do ticket sales, like all of that. And the police told Live Nation to stop the show, but as we know, the show still went on.
Mm-hmm.
By 9 o'clock, more than 260 people had been treated. And at a 9:18 entry log from the fire department mentioned a crush injury at 9:18.
Oh.
Mind you, this show went on until I think a little bit past 10 o'clock, a little bit past 11.
10:15.
10:15. So around 9:30, at least 5 911 calls had been made, and a mass casualty event was declared. The show was not over until 10:15. Between 10 and 11:40, 17 people were transported to the hospital, and at least 6 were in cardiac arrest. 9 people died.
That day.
And no, 8 people died that day.
8 that day. 1 just yesterday.
One,
right?
I think it was just yesterday or the day before. It was like after the fact. And over 300 people got injured at this fucking festival.
You know, my mom said the other day, she's like, I thought about all the times you guys went out to shows, and I said, be careful, I love you, I'll see you later. And she's like, how many mothers said that and their kid never came home? How horrifying.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, we went to shows. We used to go to raves.
Yeah.
These shows, 90% of the people who are there are on drugs.
Oh, 100%.
Like, ODs happen all the time. I've only been to, 1 show, maybe 2, where someone actually, like, for sure I know they died there.
Oh, right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But, like, how does this happen?
How does it happen that so many people died? Like, there was...
How does he let it go on this long?
I couldn't even tell you. There was a festival that had happened. So it was the Woodstock Revival of 99.
You were telling me about this, yes.
This is a big one. So it's fucking Woodstock, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's hundreds of thousands of people. It's quoted that it was somewhere around the realm of 300,000 people that were at this Woodstock Revival.
I would be there.
The fucking venue burnt to the ground. The entire thing burnt to the ground.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
I want to say it was 3 people who died, the venue burnt to the ground, and while it was burning, the artists were like, stop, don't do that, stop, and they wouldn't stop, and that's how it got to where it was. But now compare it, right? Look at the 2 situations. 1999, 300,000 people, 3 people died.
Yeah.
2021, 50,000 people with an extra 5,000, so 55,000 people. 9 people died. How?
And how many?
It's a smaller
Over 300
crowd.
injured.
Yeah. It's a smaller crowd. How did more people die? It's a much more manageable crowd.
And you said Woodstock was, like, inside of a venue?
No, it was like an
Or it was
outdoor. It was an
outdoors?
outdoor festival. You know, it's
Okay.
Woodstock. You know.
Yeah.
So there's been tweets and TikToks and like I like to call it the chatter of the internet from people who were there, medics, security people who had worked the event. All of these people are saying it was understaffed.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings me back to that like 1 security per 9 people. That's before the extra 5,000.
Yeah.
So, yes, people sneaking into shows, bad call. We've done it, still a bad call. You see, but 50 to 100 people sneaking in, manageable.
5,000?
That's a lot.
How'd you even let that happen?
That's a lot of fucking people. Well, they were using bolt cutters. They were sneaking in every which way possible.
It's crazy.
So that tells me that, yes, they may have security on the inside, but they didn't have security on the perimeter.
Yeah.
When we snuck in, we talked to security and just kept walking.
They let us in. It was
They
their
didn't.
fault.
They didn't stop us. They didn't stop us. I was 12. It was Warped
You
Tour.
were 12?
It was Warped Tour. I was
I
12.
didn't realize you were so young.
It was when we had the beach house. We sold the beach house when I was like 13.
You were that young at that time, though.
I was a baby, bro.
Because I just always think of you as my age.
That's fair. So,
12.
we went into Travis Scott's history. We talked about
Yeah.
timelines. We talked about the casualties and the injuries that have happened. Tell me about the history of Live Nation, the actual like promoting company.
Okay.
Like, because I've heard that they got some shit going on too.
I didn't hear about any of this. But I will learn with Joe.
You gonna learn
We're
today?
going to learn today. So we all know them for festival promoting, operating, and ticket sales. You've all heard of Live Nation. If you've been to a concert, you know who Live Nation is.
If you know what Ticketmaster is, you know what Live Nation is.
It's just, they are like one of the tops.
Yeah.
So apparently they got a history of negligence too.
Yeah.
We ain't acting right out here.
No? Acting up.
Act right.
Grow up. Live Nation, grow up. You gonna tell me that I'm wrong?
You gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Okay. That comes up every day in my life, honestly. So the big one is the Vegas shooting that we remember.
Yes.
It was just recent, right?
It was not that
ago.
2 years ago. It was right before, COVID. Yeah. So with the Las Vegas shooting happening at a Live Nation event, now we know the logistics of this situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful, and there's a lot of different layers as to why this mass shooting happened. It's just something to put on the board there that this was a Live Nation sponsored event where this mass shooting happened.
Yes.
So it's on the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, in 2019, Live Nation received a $5,000 fine after an employee said he was struck in the head by a 6-foot steel post that tipped over while he was walking near a staging area in 2018, lacerating and bruising his head.
Oh my god. Lacerating. I hate that word.
I know.
Oh god.
Slicing, if you feel better about it.
Oh my god.
2020, so just last year,
Yeah.
tour manager, sound engineer Jared Jackson sued Live Nation and others for his injuries after claiming that during 2017 performance, he fell 12 feet through an 8-foot by 8-foot gap in the stage, which was covered by decorative camouflage netting.
Oh my god. That sounds like... That's a trap. That is a Bugs Bunny trap.
That's literally from like a cartoon. You put leaves over a hole so they fall in. Like, what?
Oh my god.
Despite his prior warnings about the unsafe stage conditions.
Jesus
Quote
Christ.
unquote.
So, they got a little bit of a history. Travis Scott's got a history. Astroworld has a history. So, to me, it sounds like this is all just bubbling up. It's just
waiting for something to happen.
We were... no one was asking for this by any fucking means. It was bound to happen, is what it sounds like.
We should have expected it, is what we're saying.
And prepared for it. There's no reason why this should have happened.
There was no press about any of this stuff, though.
Exactly. Right now, as of today, the 13th, Saturday, November.
2021.
2021.
It's Thanksgiving. It's not.
9:19 p.m. Right now, there's over 100 lawsuits out against Live Nation, Score More, which is another promotion company that was associated with the event.
Okay.
Drake, and of course, Travis fucking Scott.
100 from Astroworld alone? Or
100
from in general?
No, so 100 lawsuits have opened from this event. So whether it was people banding together and doing it together, this person being represented by this company, one person, a family member of the deceased being represented, there's 100 different lawsuits out against all of these people.
Oh my god.
Yes. So some people say that the barrier design is what caused the problems. Now, I kind of agree with this. And I was telling you about this. The barrier doesn't make sense. So I saw the layout. I didn't see the barrier itself. Now, the layout, weirdly enough, I can only describe it, looked like a plus sign of sorts. So the stage, you had your main stage, right? I'm going to do it this way. So you had your main stage. And then there was a platform that walked out, and then there was the long one in the middle. And that's what he was standing on when he was looking down at the crowd.
Yeah.
Now, the crowd on this main, walkway, right? The crowd was on this side, and there was a barrier here, down the middle of, a catwalk, but it separated this way. So there were 4 sets, so to speak.
Okay.
The one closest to the stage was VIP, and then you have general admission.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the way and granted, this is a big festival. I'm not a really big festival guy. I kind of more like smaller shows, but I don't think I've ever seen a barrier design that way. Where it's like...
I've been to a lot of festivals.
Yeah.
I've never seen a barrier design like that. Now, usually at festivals, it's all just open. Everything's open.
Yeah.
And there's usually multiple stages, so I don't know how this one was set up. Was there multiple stages?
There were multiple stages. Because remember in the beginning, they were saying how a lot of people just stormed the main stage and stayed there. Yeah, so there were multiple. I don't know how many, but...
It's multiple stages, then you go to the one stage, and there's usually only barriers in the front.
Right.
They don't usually separate the
They
crowd.
separated it. And that's why, and what I was reading and what I kind of agree with is a big reason why this happened. Because nobody is used to that kind of barrier. So...
I ripped my pamphlet.
Like your pamphlet. Oh no! Your pamphlet! It's broken!
No one will ever know.
No one will know. What was I saying? Oh, so the barrier... So no one's used to that kind of barrier design. So when you're pushing, you're just expecting people to be up against the stage.
Mm-hmm.
That blockade is shorter than what you're thinking it is. So you're thinking, I'm going to push through, I'm going to push through, I'm going to push through, and then you stop, and you can't get any more. People are getting locked in this corner of, whatever these areas are called. In between. You know what I'm saying? In the corners.
In the corners, yeah.
In the corners of it. So I think that was a big reason why there were so many casualties.
That's so scary.
Yeah. So ultimately, I think this is Travis's thing. I know it's Travis's thing, but I think that he is at the forefront of being held responsible for all of it. Live Nation is a huge part of that as well, for being the promoting agency, the ticket selling people, the ones who help control the merch tents, hire the security. I think those are the 2 big names. Drake being involved, I don't necessarily understand. I know he hopped in later as people were getting hurt, but I don't necessarily understand why he's a part of the lawsuit.
I mean, yeah, he performed there, but so did SZA and Lil Baby and
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
And none of them are being charged.
Exactly. But the thing that gets me the most is this was a 2-day festival. This happened on the first night. What is the big deal with him stopping the first night, knowing he could just come back the next day, everything's good, start over?
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand it.
So the weird thing is...
Lucas! Welcome to the pod. This is Jaclyn's brother, my other cousin. This is Luke Bracey, the real Bracey on
Twitch.
On Twitch.
That's me.
Yeah,
and
man.
TikTok.
Yeah, on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And Twitter.
Instagram.
All the socials.
What do you think about this shit?
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy to morally point fingers at people.
Yeah.
Because, you could say this was Travis Scott's fault, he could have stopped. This was Live Nation's fault for promoting a dangerous event. That you could say it was the security company's fault for not preventing all these people from rushing the COVID tents. But at the end of the day, legally, I don't think anyone's going to get blamed for it. It's going to this is going to disappear, and it's going to be, a documentary on VH1 in 20 years.
Right.
And people will be like, oh, I remember when that happened.
It's gonna be like Fire Festival documentary.
It's literally Fire Festival.
It's gonna be like the documentary about the Who when their riot happened.
Yeah.
It'll be the documentary of Helter Skelter when the fucking what's it called? The Hells Angels were security for the Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
And they stabbed a guy to death at one of the concerts.
Jesus.
And nobody knew until the documentary came out, which had a video of it happening.
Oh my god.
So, like...
You think essentially it's going nowhere?
It's going to legally go nowhere, but we're going to be learning new stuff about this for the next 15 years. Maybe longer.
I mean, I know there was, and I was mentioning it to you, the Woodstock Revival Festival in '99. So there's documentaries about that everywhere, and they did a full study on, you know, the mentality of, like, you know, the what's it called? The group mindset. There's a word for it specifically.
Mob mentality.
Mob mentality of, you know, that's why even though all the artists were saying fucking stop, they wouldn't, because at that point everybody was on the same train and the same path they were just going. Yeah. So all of this comes out now with the understanding of sociology and how that can all apply in these types of settings. So now there's stuff coming out that we're learning from that event, and people are trying to take pieces from that and apply it to what happened here.
Well, that's how, like, regular people took over kingdoms back in the day. Like,
mentality.
you have 100,000 people going in one direction, you can't stop them.
Yeah.
Like, they will continue to go that direction. They'll break castle walls. They'll keep going in that direction, and you're not going to stop them. And that's how King Louis's head ended up on a pike.
I mean, with storming of the Capitol.
Yeah.
They did the same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
You put enough people with the same
like,
mentality
have you ever
in the
seen
same
World
place.
War Z?
I love World War Z.
Think about, like, how those zombies move through places.
Yeah.
If you're in the way of that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, those zombies didn't necessarily eat people. They crushed them. Like, they would destroy
They were violent.
things.
They were just violent.
Like, it was ridiculous. Like, when people move like water, you can't stop them. Like, it's a very intimidating force.
I mean, that's exactly what they were saying. It was like you were in a sea. You weren't controlling the way in which the crowd was moving. You just naturally went
there.
with
They
it.
said that they were so close. Your back on my chest, my back on their chest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People were being held up unconscious.
Yeah.
Still standing up because it was so tight.
So tight in between people.
Crowds are
like
scary.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been to the TLA in Philly?
Yes.
No.
So TLA.
It's about this
it's
day.
Small. It's very small. So, like, I saw Excision there back in the day.
Oh.
And, like, it's so small that Excision had to put his speakers, like, 50 or some odd feet behind the stage. Because if they were that close to the stage, they would have hurt people standing there.
Oh my god.
So we had to put them, like, way far behind the stage.
Excision's
Oh, Excision's
because
big.
the speakers are crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
But, like, that place, like, I could like feel other people sweating. Like, that's how close we were together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, when he would hit that bass, like, everyone would just, like, kind of move apart. Like, you would feel the wave push through the people.
Oh my god.
Like, everyone was so just touching.
Yeah.
Like, so close. It was ridiculous.
Oh my god.
And that show was probably 2,000 people, not even. Like, but
so
TLA
something
is,
as
like,
big
the
as
size
this.
of this room.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very different.
So a crowd of 55,000 people.
In
horrifying.
a cage.
Yeah, which is I was literally just telling her about how the way that they designed the set. Did you see it? It was set up like a cross. Like,
a cage.
You're stuck. There is
When
no
have you ever
getting
been
out.
to a festival where they separate the crowd though? That's crazy. Putting barricades in the middle of people.
They do it at really big shows where people have a catwalk.
Yeah.
So
it was
like,
literally
if you're
because of the
gonna
catwalk.
walk out, so like
so no
they
one
used
can
to
get
do
up
it.
to you.
But here's the thing: they used to do it all the time at like Nickelodeon events, like Nickelodeon Music Awards and shit like that.
Yeah.
Always had a catwalk.
Yeah.
Always. And it was surrounded by cameras, and like they would come down like this, and the people were everywhere, and they were all kids.
Yep.
But like
It's
nothing
the
ever
same.
happened.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like
It's literally keeps coming down to
he
none of it makes sense.
he
I could
kind
how
of
it all
incited a riot.
Could
Yeah,
give you
like-
example
Exactly.
after example of other shows where they had same circumstances,
Right.
but it didn't happen. So like,
Yeah.
how did this happen?
Well, this, like, if you watch the videos of it, you hear what the people said about being there. It was less like a concert and more like the heart of the protests.
Right.
Like,
Oh my
that's what it
God.
felt more like. Like, watching the
I didn't
videos.
even-
Like,
I
I was in
that.
Philly
Yeah.
during all the protests. I saw a lot of shit
Yeah.
that, like, I wish I didn't see. Like, it was really fucking, like, eye-opening.
Yeah.
And, like, heartbreaking. And it, like, the videos look the same. Like, where you could hear the screams and the people and, like, you see smoke. And it's just
Oh
like,
my
what the
God.
fuck's going on here?
It's that same energy
It's
that's
the same
happening.
feeling of just, like,
Hell.
Jesus.
And it's funny because the other time I've felt that before
Yeah.
was going after the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
When I was
You were
in
there.
I was there.
No,
I was there for the parade. This was the night
they
it
won
happened.
The Super
Oh,
Bowl.
I remember you telling me
And we
about
were
this.
walking from the house to Broad Street.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear the crowd from before you could see them from blocks away.
Oh my god.
And like there was this pressure in the air. And you like feel like it felt like we were walking into war.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
and like that gives you a different mentality. It like you're in a different state of being.
Right.
So like I could totally see how that makes a lot of normally sane people do an insane thing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then especially if you're in a situation where it feels like you might get hurt or dead. You're going to do a lot of things to not
Make sure that's not
get
you.
hurt or dead.
Yeah, people said they were
Yeah.
literally fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
If you're in the
It was a war zone.
fight or flight, like you are fighting for your life, it's you over anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
and no matter
Like
what.
if you're in that crowd and you're fucking 6'7", 250-pound dude, like not a lot's going to stop you from hurting people to get out.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You're
like-
getting
You know what
out.
I mean?
The
Like,
one
you're getting
TikTok
out.
I watched, the girl, people kept saying, "Well, how did you end up getting out?" The ones that I sent you.
Yes.
That blonde girl,
I know exactly what you're talking
I don't
about.
remember
yeah.
her name, but
You have to swim. That's how you
she
get
Yeah,
said that
essentially.
she got into this like line of
It was like a snake.
train
It was a
of
train,
people
yeah.
that had a big guy at the front that was punching his way through the
Yep.
crowd, just swinging to
Oh,
get
yeah.
through,
Right.
and he got him out.
Yeah.
But
Well,
like,
That's
But
like
that's
that
what he had to
concert.
do to get out.
It's like
Like-
that concert I was telling you about, where there was a huge fight. We were at a concert. I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Acula who was playing.
Ooh.
I'm not 100% sure on that. But their keyboardist, if you look it up, is a giant dude. Giant dude in very skinny jeans.
That's awesome.
metal.
And a huge fight broke out. And there was like, the place we were at had this kitchen off to the side and it had a little hallway, like, you know, the hallway that goes from a kitchen to the dining room. And there must have been 500-600 people going through that hallway all at the same time.
Oh my god.
And somebody hit the drummer with a frying pan. And
because it was a kitchen. Like
they
so
took him
Because,
to
I
the
mean,
kitchen
why
and
not?
Yeah.
Just ping. And
Because metal.
the keyboardist lost it and literally walked through the crowd just knocking people out.
Oh my god.
Because the crowd was like trying to get outside, trying to stay inside, and like kind of in this deadlock, and he just walked straight through them, like they weren't even there. And I was like, "Oh my god,
That's insane.
that was a crazy.
That's
night.
insane.
That was a crazy. They don't do
Jesus.
shows there anymore."
For that reason. Yeah.
We don't need kitchens at shows, no.
Damn.
But I mean, the thing with that show, like, was that crazy? Yeah. Did a fight break out? Yeah. Did the location we were at let it happen? Not at all.
No.
Right.
Like, that's how everyone ended up outside. Like, a fight broke out between, I mean, a lot of people, probably like 50 to 100 people were fighting.
Jesus.
But there was
Christ.
probably 1,000 people at this show.
Right.
And they, like, walked out and they're like, everyone needs to leave now. Like, the cops are coming
Shut
and will
it
arrest
down.
everybody here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
Oh
like,
my
and everyone
God.
fucking left. They're like, oh,
Right.
yep,
They're-
you're
okay.
right, we're gonna go.
Time to go. Time to go. So then that makes me think of. So we're talking the metal scene, right? We're talking punk, hardcore, that whole thing, because we were touching on that earlier.
Well, I was gonna say we're kind of moving into what we want to talk about with the whole etiquette
Right. So
within these scenes.
So it's been widely understood that somebody falls, you
You
pick
pick
them the
them
fuck
up.
up. That's it. And I was even talking about it with
We make
Just-
merch.
we're making merch, we're making
Simply
t-shirts.
whatever merch. If someone falls, you pick them up.
That's the merch. That's the first t-shirt that's hitting the merch store. But like I was talking about it with one of my friends, and even they were saying that and different hip hop shows and rap shows, and she was saying that, you know, maybe it's because pits are more so in our type of scene of, you know, metal shows and hardcore shows and punk
We've
shows.
been around it longer.
Around it, it's been ingrained as a part of the culture
Yeah.
of, you know, this scene. Whereas you don't really find pits like that at hip hop and rap shows. But now you're seeing this blend of this, you know,
The
the dirty
metal
ghetto
rap.
kid, the metal rap kind
Yeah.
of vibe. So now you're having to teach a whole new group of people who have no clue what the etiquette is like. On
They don't have any old heads to help them through.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You were one of the first people who taught me, what's it called? Like pit rules. because when we snuck in a Warped Tour, that was
all right, here's some things you need to know.
Exactly.
Because those are real. Like, people don't expect it because they're like, oh, it's Warped Tour. Like, you know, Never Shout Never and Dance Gavin Dance are playing. But it's like, no, Whitechapel's playing right there.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for them to play right here watching I See Stars.
Yeah.
And they will fuck you up if you get in their way.
Exactly.
But, like, just with saying, like, we went to Warped Tour.
Yes.
And who was it? Bring Me the Horizon was playing?
When we went that, not with Luke, but afterwards.
And
we fell in the pit.
Started.
Yeah.
And so everyone was going, and the person in front of me fell. So I fell. So
we were linked arms.
Yeah, so everyone started falling. How fast was it? We were picked up and out of the pit.
I blinked.
Like,
I felt the concrete on my hands.
Did you get stepped on at all?
No.
It had within 10 seconds. Because you would have got stepped on.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, the kid behind me fell on me and was then just like,
I felt
out the pit.
concrete on my hands. I felt concrete on my hands, and then suddenly by the time I opened my eyes, I was just up.
Yeah.
It was so
long
quick.
It took for someone to notice people fell and not fall. And that guy picked
And there's
you up.
also
exactly.
shows too where it's like, have you noticed this? Where if you go to like a hardcore show, guys won't let you in the pit.
Yes.
As soon as you go into the pit, they all pull
you
out.
you out.
You get gatekeepered. Well, so usually if I've seen that happen a couple times at shows, and I've actually been that guy a couple times at shows, it's because like if I go in the pit as me, and I get the shit kicked out of me, you're not going in.
Right.
I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get hurt.
Right.
And you might not be able to walk out of the pit. Be like, oh shit, I got hit a couple
But
times.
exactly.
So
and
you're not going in.
So you're not going because you're not going to take that hit.
Are looking out for a complete stranger because you know she can't handle the pit.
Yeah.
Where's this etiquette now at rap shows?
It's a sense of culture and family, right? Because you got to think the metal scene, the punk scene has always been the outcast. We made a family out of
each other.
Exactly.
The misfits.
We were the misfits. So we didn't fit in with anybody else, but we fit in with each other, so we're going to protect each other and look out for each other. I can't speak for that same sense of camaraderie within the hip-hop and rap community.
No, because the hip-hop and rap community is more like competing with each other.
Exactly.
I have this that's better than this that you have. I have a nicer car. I have nicer clothes. I have nicer jewelry.
Right.
It's all competition.
I have crazier crowds.
I have...
More people die at my show than yours.
Fuck. Fuck. Oh my god.
It's a slippery slope. Even when I first got into like the scene, like there was talks like because we wanted to go to a Lil Wayne concert one time.
Nice.
And like everyone we talked to was like you need to wear like a vest of phone books. Like people get stabbed all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like hip hop shows have like really really popular artists always had dangerous concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it's like I've been to concerts in the middle of Newark, like in random people's basements, like all over New Brunswick in random people's basements. And God knows what was going on, and I've never felt in danger. Like I've been to a couple hip hop shows where it's like this. I feel like this is dangerous. Like I need to move away from this crowd.
This is not where I need to be. Like yeah.
It's a whole different vibe, but it's weird because like metal concerts also have groups like FSU.
FSU.
So FSU is FSU stood
Bless
for stood for fuck shit up.
Yeah.
And that's what
okay.
they did.
Yes.
They fucked shit up.
Yes.
And like they were actually the ones who started that fight at the show I was at.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what they did. They went places to fight. But then there was people like like Kyle Collins, who was the other kid who was in that fight. And like me and my friends who showed up with the bands and stuff like that, who would basically like anti them.
Gotcha.
Like they would get a couple people and we would take some of them out of this. Like it's like, no, you're not going to the show anymore. Like we kick them out of shows. They'd get back in. They'd do this, that, the other thing, and like I feel like there's only FSU at the hip hop shows. Everyone else is just a regular viewer.
There's no anti-FSU.
There's no protection. There's
right.
Like,
that makes sense.
And like you go to an EDM show and stuff like that. Like the most dangerous thing at an EDM show is bad drugs.
Yeah.
ODing, yeah.
Yep.
So they have people there that you could test drugs.
Yeah.
Like you go to any EDC, any big show, there's gonna be someone there who you could walk up to and be like, "Could you test this for me?" And they'd be like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like.
And it's not a big deal because there's a protector there of some sort.
There's no protector.
There's none.
And I'm not even gonna say just hip hop shows. I feel like it's too small of a number at these giant trend festivals.
Yes.
Like I would say even Coachella.
Right.
We might not hear about shit that happens at Coachella, but Coachella is Burning Man light.
Yeah.
And rich people can't do Burning Man.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them have very bad times and very bad things happen to them that we will never hear about because they're rich people and it disappears.
Right.
But like this weird like blending of these like fringe groups with the mainstream is dangerous.
Yeah.
Like I know that's what we all wanted. Oh, why can't punk be mainstream and why can't this be like why can't everyone just enjoy this? But it like. I don't know. I don't want to say everyone's not built for it, but not everyone's built for it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
It really makes me think of even back, like, in high school when, there was the local scene around here. Like, I went to high school with a couple bands who were having festivals with bands from your guys' high school,
Yeah.
And it makes me think of then when, the preps would go to these shows to be cool and they would come home crying.
Yeah, it's
being
like
you're not made for this.
Show,
this is not
for you.
This is not for you.
And like even within the scene, like, my friends that I would go to see bands with like lighter bands like an Icy Stars or Miss May I or something like that are not the people I would bring to a fucking Carnifex show or a Whitechapel show. Like
exactly.
That's the wrong scene. Like you're not gonna have fun there.
No, exactly.
Like it's not the same thing. Like you're not gonna be able to go around in the pit and just fuck around. Like someone's gonna knock you out for making fun of their band.
Yeah.
Pretty much like
exactly.
It's like no, it's not the same scene. You're in the wrong
this is not for you.
This is not where you parked
your
car.
Here.
This is not where you parked your car. You need to move
on. You need to go.
So you were mentioning earlier about how the energy and the environment of and you had seen from like TikToks and stuff of the Astrofest festival was more of like a riot and a protest than it was a show.
Yeah, it was hectic.
So that kind of leads me into some of the conspiracies that have come out regarding Astroworld.
So here's one I want to look into a little more. Mm-hmm. Have you heard I think it's Pink Floyd is the conspiracy of it. So like there was a crowd. What's the word for it that they use? Like crowd stomping or something like that. There's like
crushing?
There's like a term for what happened.
Stampede?
Pretty much.
It's even more generalized than that. Like to the fact that like a concert crowd.
Yeah.
Like it's very very specific.
Right.
I'm
not sure.
I forget what it was called though. But Pink Floyd had one of those. Was one of the most recent ones that happened. Mm-hmm. Was theirs. And it was very similar to this one, like almost the same amount of people died. Like it was very, very similar in weird, coincidental ways. And it just so happened that Travis Scott was wearing like a band shirt of theirs.
Yes,
I saw this.
I saw that.
Right?
Yeah. So like it's something about not only like trying to do this ritual or something, but about Pink Floyd
referencing
also.
that, yeah,
and like saying like
I don't think it was Pink Floyd. I don't think it was Pink Floyd, but oh my god, it's gonna kill me.
Something about like they were trying to do that ritual and failed, so he was trying to finish it.
Yeah,
like, I was like, this is a fucking movie script, bro.
Yeah, like it's weird. So even thinking about like the ambiance and the energy that was happening there, a lot of fucking people.
Everybody who was there.
Yeah.
Every video I've seen of someone who was actually at the event described it as demonic. Yeah. Demonic was the word.
Demonic vibes.
Like I was in hell.
Yes, I was hearing hell descriptor all over the place.
Well, because people are
again
crushing.
With the protests and shit, like on
demonic.
On Broad Street when they closed down that exit and were tear gassing people, like it didn't feel like we were on Earth anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not a real thing. Like
it's
like
just
I know
scary.
people who were there when the tear gassing was happening, and they were like, I didn't know what happened. Like they were like, it wasn't real anymore. Like the sun went away. Like it was just like nothing was real.
Jesus.
It was like
it's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. You go into fight or flight mode,
right?
And that only happens when you think you're gonna die.
Yeah,
that's the only time.
Well, they're saying like people are suffocating, dying, and the hand of God over them. On the screen
like
it says "See you on the other side."
Yeah, weird. The thing.
Someone said this, and it really like hit me a little because it was like, imagine, like, all of this carnage is going on around you, and you just hear the music playing in the background.
Yeah. Oh my God, they could never listen to Travis Scott again.
Never.
Dude,
all of these people are traumatized
they're gonna
for
hear
the rest
like,
of their life.
at like a fucking Red Robin or something.
Oh my
like playing
God.
over the intercom, have a PTSD like breakdown.
Yeah. And the worst one that got me was someone was explaining it how they were so stuck, right? And they were so trapped in this fucking sardine can of people. And they happened to be able to look around them, and it looked as if everybody in the crowd was pinned up, as we were saying, like by chest and back of the person behind them,
held up,
and their faces were just straight up gasping for air.
Yes.
And it was just a sea of people doing it. That is my description of hell. That is hell. People sitting there gasping for air, and all you can hear is the of Travis Scott humming.
It's the Travis Scott bullshit.
Just yeah, like
while you're just drowning on dry land.
Yeah, like that is hell.
What's the
that
song we talked about earlier?
Sicko mode?
Yeah.
Sicko mode?
Yeah.
Like a light, eh?
Where's
like
the thing? So
out like a light.
I haven't liked Travis Scott since he robbed us of SpongeBob at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Speaking of sicko mode.
Yes, exactly.
I forgot about that.
Personal vendetta.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, fuck
oh
that guy.
my God. And it's weird. There's a lot of people who are saying that it was like a sacrifice, like a mass sacrifice thing. So it's one of the conspiracies. Again,
what was he doing?
like,
It was sucking life force from the crowd.
And then he went and celebrated that new life force at Dave & Buster's.
Well, yeah, he wanted to get tickets for Stormy.
Dave & Buster's, baby.
Exactly. But I guess the thing that, like... it's so fucked up to me. And I understand that conspiracies get born out of, you know, people not being able to rationalize a situation, right? Like, it's insane for us to understand that 9/11 happened.
Well, you can't wrap your head around it, so you need to explain it away.
You need a reason, and you come up with the most plausible one, which is Travis Scott, who is one of the top artists of the decade right now, who is with Kylie Jenner.
I couldn't name like any other song other than Sicko Mode.
I got goosebumps. That's it. Just goosebumps. I get those goosebumps every time.
Song.
Yeah, that one.
That I can't listen to anymore now.
No, exactly. So we have Travis Scott, who's with Kylie Jenner, who's with the Kardashians, so there's a little bit of like an Illuminati feel to it. And then here he is, mass, you know, sacrifice, if we want to call it that, of all of his fans, sucking up their life. You know, I understand the symbolism that's happening here.
Well, she was there.
She was there. So her posting a picture of the ambulance on her Instagram story with Stormy and getting escorted out by security.
Stormy was there too?
Stormy was there, yes. She posted a picture of her with headphones on. She was there.
A baby.
Yeah.
The life force was for Stormy.
No, the life force is for the new baby.
They have
the new baby.
They're building it inside of her.
Oh my God.
Well, you're telling me Kylie's a vessel? She's giving virgin births.
But like you're saying that he didn't know, right?
There's no way.
He went to Dave & Buster's because he didn't know, right?
I mean, that's the story.
Yeah.
I saw a report where Kylie and whoever she was with had to stop and wait because there were bodies in the way.
The thing that gets me the most is, okay, you have Kylie and Stormy there. They're there. Why
is Stormy there?
People bring their
enough sisters.
People bring their children to shows all the time.
When she's like 3.
Fucking sister. Pick a goddamn mom. Jesus.
So you have Kylie and Stormy. They're in the back. They're watching the performance happen. The ambulance comes by. Travis sees it, calls it out. Kylie sees it, posts a picture of it, gets escorted out of the venue. They all link up at Dave & Buster's later.
Well, and I heard.
No one asked a question and said, hey, why was there an ambulance in the crowd?
She posted it on her story and then deleted it and said she didn't know anything happened.
I've been to plenty of shows where ambulances have been in crowds.
Right.
And nothing serious happened.
But a part of you goes, hey, I hope that guy's okay.
Maybe the first time. Not the 1000th.
Yeah.
So it's normal.
Not to defend Travis Scott, but he has a
it.
crazy giant concert. He sees ambulance all the time.
Right.
No, they're like, oh, well, at least I got him.
It gives me anxiety just thinking about being in that crowd.
Exactly.
Because, like, I've been in tight crowds before, but...
So I kind of just want to touch base on this. This was something very important to me that I felt like if we were going to do this on my small town podcast, that's about literally nothing, I would like to...
whatever.
Simply whatever, because that's all it fucking is. I kind of want to touch base a little bit on the victims, if y'all are cool with that.
Yeah.
Well, the most important part of this story.
Exactly,
we should
because...
not be talking about fucking Travis Scott anymore.
We should be talking about the victims. This is like a list of the first 8 people, and then afterwards we have the newest death that came out either yesterday or the day beforehand. So we have, I'm so sorry I'm going to butcher these names, I can already tell, but we have Danish Baig, who was 27, from Houston, Texas. He died trying to save his fiancée, who was getting stomped on and hit in the crowd. His brother said anything that he did, he put everyone before himself. And that's what he did until he died, till his last breath. He was planning on buying a house for his parents at the end of the month, and his fiancée has survived, but has bruises all over her body and is traumatized.
Oh,
yeah.
And he literally died saving her life.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Then we have Rodolfo Pena, who was 23, from Laredo, Texas. Apparently he studied at Laredo College, according to his Facebook, and his brother has set up a GoFundMe for funeral expenses. I'm going to post the link of that also, in post. Like, yeah, exactly.
In the doobly-doo.
Then we have Madison Dubinsky, who was 23, from Cypress, Texas. She was a senior at the University of Dayton, and she was at the show with her younger brother Ty, but the two were pulled apart in the crowd. Yeah. Next we have Franco Patino, 21, from Illinois, a senior at the University of Dayton also, who was studying mechanical engineering, technology, and human movement biomechanics.
Wow.
Smart dude. He was a member of Alpha Psi Lambda, a Hispanic interest fraternity, and he was loved by so many because of the loyal, loving, selfless, protective, funny, and caring person he was, said his family.
Wow.
Yeah. Jacob Jurinki, 20, of Illinois.
So young.
Yeah. A junior studying journalism. Exactly. A junior studying journalism at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, which I guess is like an off-branch. A chancellor at the school said he was a creative, intelligent young man with a promising career in journalism and advertising. And then this one broke my soul.
Our youngest so far.
So far. Mm-hmm. John Hilgert, he's 14, from Houston, Texas. The only thing I can find on him, and I think it's because he's a minor.
He played baseball.
Yeah. He played baseball, and he was a freshman at Memorial High School in Houston.
Because I saw a picture of him in his baseball uniform, and he looks like such a little boy. And it was, like,
yeah,
so heartbreaking.
Oh, my God.
Well, because I saw another picture.
It's Tyler. It's Tyler.
Well, I saw another picture of him. Like, the picture the media is posting, he looks like a teenager. Like, he looks older.
Right.
This picture that his parents posted, he looks like a little, like, baby boy.
Oh, my God.
And it's so sad.
It's devastating. So we have Axel Acosta Avila, 21, of Washington. He was a junior at Western Washington University with an interest in computer science. This one fucked me up. He was there alone, and his aunt said it was his first time at an event like that.
He went by himself.
He just wanted to see Travis Scott.
I heard about him that she said it was his first time at an event like that.
Yeah.
And it made me think about, like, this 9-year-old.
He came all the way from Washington.
Yeah. Then we have Brianna Rodriguez, 16, of Houston, Texas. She was a junior at Heights High School in Houston. Dancing was her passion, and now she's dancing her way to heaven's pearly gates, according to her GoFundMe page. And then most recent, this person had passed away. I'm so smart. I wrote the date, Thursday, 11/11.
So it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
It was after the fact.
Exactly. So she was a student at Texas A&M University studying electronic systems engineering technology. And this quote comes from one of her family members. Barty played the role of that first-generation oldest siblings play. They are the glue of the family. They are the liaisons. They are the mentors. They are the advisors. They are the interpreters. They are the people who keep the family together, said a family member. Her sister said this was her first music festival. For the first time in her life, she just wanted to have fun, and that was taken from her. Fucked me up. Dude, I was bawling.
Are you kidding?
Reading
She just wanted to have fun. And she got literally crushed.
Yeah.
I could cry.
And then
awful.
We do have to pay homage to our boy. My heart is with him so dearly right now. He's not a casualty, thank God, but as of right now, I know the three of us can all agree, we are hoping for the recovery of 9-year-old Ezra Blunt. At the moment, he's in a medically induced coma in critical condition from heart, lung, and brain injuries from being trampled by the crowd. From what I saw, his dad had him on his shoulders, and when the crowd surge happened,
his dad got crushed.
His dad got crushed, dropped Ezra, and now he's in a coma. So that's our.
But you said
those
his
are our
dad
victims.
is doing okay, right?
From what I saw, because the articles that I was reading, it was the dad quoting.
Okay.
You know, like they had pulled things that his dad was saying.
He lost consciousness and fell down.
So
And
he's
that's how
probably
the kid
okay
got
now.
Because I heard
Right.
he lost consciousness. I heard he had brain bleed. I heard it's like there's so much information going around right now.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is why it took me like so long to pull all this information, because I was like, I need to make sure all of this is at least
as accurate.
You know, I'm not gonna start pulling random fucking things that I just find randomly. Like, it has to make at least cohesive sense. And me seeing an article that was written 2 days ago about Ezra quoting his dad tells me his dad is okay.
Yeah.
You know, but just to before we wrap it all up, how do you guys think this is gonna affect future festivals?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to.
Not at all?
Not enough.
I saw, so they had like the CMAs a couple days after this happened, and like they had a bunch of concerts going on for that, and people were there like nothing happened.
Right.
EDC Orlando is going on right now.
Oh yeah, it's literally now.
It's currently day 2 of EDC Orlando. I mean, we've heard no reports of anything happening, which again, at these shows, 90% of the people there are on ODing amounts of drugs.
Right.
Yes.
And like...
Very dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. People are going on with their lives like nothing happened, pretty much.
But that's the other thing is, it's very difficult to do anything about it, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, how do we stop a riot? It's like, you don't.
You don't.
You make sure it doesn't happen in the first place, but you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes a lot on the artist to not incite a riot.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
yeah.
probably what you could do.
That's a big thing you could do.
Probably what you could do
Yeah.
is don't make it happen, and it probably won't.
We can have some more respectful artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we are used
Have less
to.
self-centered fucking artists up on stage just trying to make a point.
I guess the thing
know?
that I think of is like, you remember when they tried to change, I guess not change, but tried to ban mosh pits from certain venues you can go to? I guess it makes me think of that. Are they going to try to implement rules and regulations for crowd control at festivals and events of, you know, more
Don't
than
rush the
1,000
stage,
people?
don't push,
They might
don't-
put a barrier fucking yards back to try to prevent something like this from people trying to get as close as possible because they can't.
See, the problem with
You
that
know?
is then that barrier just gets rushed.
Exactly.
Like it's very hard to put rules that would stop it because any rule that was in place to stop it is just something that is going to get broken anyway if it happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel the mosh
all the
pit
rules
ban
getting
didn't
broken
happen.
right away.
It didn't work.
It didn't
Probably
work.
only made it worse at the time.
Right. So that was one thing I was wondering. And then just to kind of like wrap it all up with a cute little bow on top. Do you guys have any shows you plan on going to? Any festivals? Anything you got lined up?
Well.
Of any sort? Oh God, why did you say it like that?
Well, we have one
I'm
coming
going to
up.
plug one, actually.
Oh,
on
okay.
Saturday,
All right,
the
drop
20th.
drop it.
Next weekend on Saturday, we got Freeze MF,
Ooh.
straight out of Philly.
Hometown, though.
Coming back to Dom's hometown, Bridgewater, to do a show.
Very exciting.
That's
Shout out
gonna
to
be
Freeze
fucking
And
MF.
the old crew back.
And
And
this is like elder millennial hardcore.
Right.
So,
I
yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's dope.
Like you're talking like 25 and up crowd. It's pretty sick.
That'll be
It's
a good show.
time. You should come.
Weren't
You
you
should
in the
come.
music video for one of their songs?
Yeah,
Yes.
in blue.
I remember that. I remember when you
blue.
were like sharing it. That's why I was like,
You
I
should
know the
definitely
name.
come.
It's next Saturday?
Yeah, I had actually bought tickets to see Circus Survive 10-year anniversary Blue Sky Noise.
my
Oh
God.
shit.
Which is my favorite album, and I waited 10 years for that shit, and then
They bought the
COVID
tickets like 4 years
shit
ago.
on it, right? So I didn't get to
Jesus.
go during COVID, so it's rescheduled to March 2022. It's on a Wednesday, but I'm going. And,
Nice.
It's on
so yeah,
Wednesday,
that's the next
but
show that I'm going to. So we'll see how that goes.
That'll be very exciting. I don't have anything lined up. I was supposed to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers last summer. I was supposed to go out to Boston. I was very excited. It was the Boston Calling Music Festival. It was going to be a big deal. It was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Rage Against the Machine, and Foo Fighters headlining.
Oh,
Foo
Foo
Fighters.
Fighters!
Oh my god. It
So
was literally
I saw Foo Fighters play at a festival in DC on the 4th of July. And this shit was ridiculous. LL Cool J was
Wasn't it
there.
when he
Oh my
had his
God.
throne?
Joan Jett was there. Buddy Guy was there.
Oh
Trombone
my-
Shorty. Like, it was crazy.
That is
the
a-
people that showed up. It was Dave Grohl's first show back after he fell off stage and broke his leg.
Oh my god.
And he had this throne made out of fucking guitars. And it was awesome. And it moved across the stage and shit. Dude, that show was so cool.
That's awesome.
They are so impressive to watch.
Everyone I know
Like,
who's seen the
oh
Foo
my
Fighters
God.
perform say it's the best performance.
And,
Any shout outs, any last words, anything you guys want to plug, anything?
Follow the Twitch, boys.
Follow the Twitch. So Luke
Put my
here.
link tree right here.
Okay,
Hit up all
it's-
the socials.
It's gonna be right here. Like, anything you would like to drop?
If you live in New Jersey, you
need
can
a
come
haircut?
to
All of my listeners are in New Jersey.
Beautiful
So.
Chaos Salon in Stewartsville. Hit up the website.
Amazing.
Just search Beautiful Chaos Stewartsville. On Google, you'll find us.
Perfect.
Here's the Facebook link right here.
Yeah. My brother Ryan, not this one, the other one, made the page. The web page, so...
It's very cute. So we're gonna do a little, like, Luke's Twitch thing, stream, link.
Do Linktree.
Linktree?
All the socials.
Perfect. So we'll do Luke's Linktree here, and then we'll do the Beautiful Chaos page here.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm also going to add in the GoFundMe now that I'm thinking about it, so we're going to shift those up and then put the GoFundMe here.
Yes.
Just because that's, their GoFundMe is actually really cool. They put on their main page, it's all of the verified GoFundMes for the victims of the Astroworld Festival.
So people don't get scammed.
Exactly. So it's all the verified ones, exactly. And it's right on their main page. So I'm going to put that thing here. It's going to be Jaclyn and Luke. And yeah.
And that's it.
That's it, y'all. It's been a really good time. Thank you for joining my pod.
Of course. Thanks for having
You guys
us.
are so sweet. Cute family times. Maybe
Oh,
we'll do something again for Thanksgiving.
Ooh,
Yes.
Thanksgiving cast?
Thanksgiving cast.
Turkey cast.
On the origins of Thanksgiving and why it's fucked.
Turkey's
Ooh,
turkey.
that would be good. That would be good. All right. Tune in next time. It's been real. Have a simply whatever fucking day. And thanks for tuning in.
Okay, bye!
Do, do, do,
Okay,
do, do.
Wait, can we do like the end of the...